these 50 years, this dance sometimes became dormant. Again, it has come up. So during this period, it has gone through different stages.
In 1956, when I started doing dancing in London, I told you that there were hardly any dancers in this country. And I didn't come here with the intention of doing any cultural programs, so I didn't have proper costumes. And basically, because I learned Manipuri in Calcutta, so my composition of dances with Tagore songs, they were based in Manipuri.
Actually, we are in this field for last 50 years, and the first in 1957 till 1996. During all this period, I must have been to London for more than 7-8 times. Then in 1963, we 4 sisters, they were also invited by Mr. Angadi of Asian Music Circle, and at that time we had performed the Manipuri items in London only. 1967, Mr. Birendra Shankar of Center of Arts, he arranged the Festival of Classical Dance and Music, in which Pandit Ravi Shankar, he had given music, and different dance styles were invited. Means we sisters were for Manipuri, then Indrani Rahman for Odissi, and Uma Sharma for Kathak, and other musicians were also there, the classical musicians.
আমি 67 নে করে গিয়েছিলাম, দুবার গিয়েছি আমি লন্ডন। তো কিন্তু এই 67এরটা আমি আমাদের খুবই মানে আনন্দের হয়েছিল। আমরা 32 জন ছিলাম, ঝাবেরি সিস্টারের গ্রুপে আমি দলে আমি ছিলাম। পণ্ডিত রবিশঙ্কর এর সাথে আমি বসে তখন গান করেছি এবং উনি বাজনা।
That time we performed for 1 month in Scala Theatre. Daily we used to perform there the whole program, and in the I think Mr. Shankar, he had such a passion for our classical music and dance, and he wanted to create interest and understanding and enthusiasm for classical Indian dance and music amongst Britishers. That's how he started his festival in 1967, and which went on for 20 years till 1985. And within that period, I was fortunate to attend in 4 or 5 times for his festival of dance and music.
ইনসলে সেন্ট্রালে থাকতাম আর প্রত্যেক দিন টিউবে করে যেতাম। এটা খুবই আমার আনন্দের মানে স্মৃতিতে রয়েছে। আমি একটু সবথেকে ছোট বয়সের ছিলাম, সেই জন্য আমি সব জায়গাতে পৌঁছে সবাইকে মানে খাবার পৌঁছে দেওয়া, তারপরে কি বলছে কে কি বলছে ওইটা কানে কানে দেওয়া, এইগুলো আমি সমস্তই করতাম। আমি লন্ডনে সমস্ত রাসলীলা তো করেছি, কিন্তু অন্যান্য আইটেম শুক্রসারি দণ্ড এবং আরেকটা প্রবন্ধ নর্তন করতেন, সে সমস্ততে আমি গান করেছি।
Gradually the interest was developed amongst Britishers, and we used to get wonderful audience since of course second time I went in 1975, and every year he used to arrange in Queen Elizabeth Hall, and the audience was wonderful, very appreciative, and it was very satisfying.
Over the years, then few years later, when there were few more people came, there was one dancer, Krishna Ghosh, and I've done a lot of dance items with her, and she was the one who had actually a Manipuri costume.
1966, I came to England in May, and 15th August, my first program I did for the India House, and where several people came to me and they said they wanted to learn the dance. So we started a little small group, and I used to teach in Wood Green and Manipuri. We started with Charlie, and these children, they were very young, 14, 15-year-old girls mainly.
So of course she used to do one item with costume, and of course I didn't. So we had an idea, and we wanted to really show Manipuri at its best, because there were lots of South Indian dancers started coming up with their beautiful, colorful costumes. And Manipuri, there was only one costume in London. I thought, let me try and see if I can make this costume. I was pretty good at needlework, actually, in school. So Krishna said, but where will you get all these braiding and sequences? Because they are typical. I said, let me see. So here I was going to Petticoat Lane, which is very famous, and you can really find a lot of stuff. Also local markets in Enfield. And I managed to gather a lot of braiding, very similar to the sort of patterns that she had in her costume. So I collected all these things, and then I sat down with red satin, and and the stiffener, because this skirt has got a stiffener. So I managed to do that, stuck it on with glue, and then started stitching sequins and braiding, and just made the design, more or less copied her skirt. And it came out so beautifully. And she couldn't believe it. And all the others, you know, when they saw that I was wearing this costume. Also, you've got headbands and armlets and all those things. And I made those things as well. So really, I made a proper Manipuri costume. I was thrilled with it. And then we started doing duets. So that's how it started.
George Harrison influenced me a lot, because in 1974, I don't remember when that song came, Oh My Lord, I Want to See You, I Want to Hear You, and all that. So that I choreographed that song, I choreographed with that song, and I presented it in our staff room as an adult, and the head teachers at Hackney, they asked me to teach in the Teacher Centre. So I taught in Hackney Teacher Centre, and from there they asked me to teach in Lambeth, somewhere very far South London. I used to travel just for doing courses for teachers to do music and movement. So I was doing Manipuri in another very subtle form.
When I came to England, it was end of 1974, but I came into the cultural world in 1980. At that time, classical Manipuri dance was dormant. So I didn't take it forward. For me, raising young family was more important. But however, I did few shows improvising the music and also the costume. And later on, I really had, I did possess two more costumes. But the most one of the main shows, classical shows I did, was in Golden Theatre, Barbican, done by the United Artists, and some other places here and there. The most important show that I did was with Academy in 2000.
Okay, welcome to Coming of Age.
At that time, they were showing Kathak and Bharatanatyam in a very large way, huge way. We had nearly 90 dancers, and I was told to give a part into it, not as an individual dancer, maybe with my group, but I insisted that I would dance Manipuri. And I remember I was wearing the Manipuri costume. The show was for 2 days. The spectator, more than 10,000 probably, all over, all around us. And some 6 girls with a palm tree in front of me brought me from Queen Elizabeth Hall gate to the rostrum. Then I performed that dance.
I performed at Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan in London under the aegis of Srimati Bithika Raha, Nritya Kala the Rhythm, And it was indeed a very splendid experience for me, because there I had, in just 45 minutes, I had given as much as I could to the audience. After my performance in London and after the overwhelming response, I felt that the future of Manipuri dance in UK is quite bright.